Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord. I wonder what you see in your imagination when you hear this invitation, because it is an invitation. And I wonder what all it could really mean. This is our theme for this year's season of Advent, and we'll be exploring the ways in which the gifts of this season, hope, peace, joy, and love, can transform us to become more like Christ. So today we talk about hope. But what even is hope? If you haven't been asleep during previous sermons, you've heard me say this before. Let's start with what hope is not. Hope is not being unrealistically optimistic, peppy, or cheerful. It is not an escape from reality or a denial of present pain or suffering. Hope is not a syrupy, sweet, drippy Hallmark fantasy, but a deeply theological disposition, outlook, or attitude. Hope acknowledges that things can and should be different, and it compels us to commit to being co-creators with God to effect real transformation. This is important, so I'm going to say it again. Hope acknowledges that things can and should be different, and it compels us to commit to being co-creators with God to effect real transformation. The invitation, "Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord," comes at the end of the passage we just heard Lynn read. Isaiah is a prophet, not a fortune teller or predictor of the future, but a spokesperson for God, speaking the hard truth of present-day reality and what will happen in the immediate future if the people don't change course. Prophets call people to turn away from violence and self-destruction and return to God's ways, seeking justice for others and right living. During Isaiah's prophetic ministry, times are bleak. Civil war has already split the children of Abraham into Israel in the north and Judah in the south. Judah will watch in horror as the Assyrian Empire decimates the northern kingdom of Israel. And they will feel the threat in their bones as their own capital of Jerusalem and the temple itself begin to tremble in fear of the Babylonians. This is the context in which the prophet Isaiah offers this incredible vision of a time when there is no more war, when weapons are refashioned into garden tools. It is a vision where there is no more us and them, when all the nations of the world are united in one human family, and they say to each other, "Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord." This is a vision of hope, of how things could really be. It is an invitation for the people to be a part of the transformation that must take place in order for this vision to become a reality. Theologian Jürgen Moltmann says that faith depends on hope for its life. Faith depends on hope for its life. This makes sense. We can feel hopeless if our faith feels wobbly. If we want to strengthen our faith, perhaps it's hope that we need to work on first. Perhaps we need to cultivate and exercise some hope. So here are two visions of hope that I have had for some time for our church and neighborhood. I often think of some of the stories of the founding of this congregation and the naming of it as College Community Church, Mennonite Brethren. Because of the denominational ties to Fresno Pacific University, I always assumed that the college part of the church's name was a recognition of this connection to FPU. So imagine my surprise when I learned it wasn't Fresno Pacific, but Fresno State that was behind the reference to the word college. The founders of this church imagined a significant outreach effort would take place with Fresno State students. I wonder if they imagined this as inviting Fresno State students to Come and walk in the light of the Lord. This really fired my imagination. I'd worked for a number of years teaching undergraduate students at Fresno Pacific and then as an administrator at Emory University, working with seminary students. As traditional forms of evangelism, you saw my nose curl, evangelism are pretty off-putting to many of us here. I wondered what would both fit us as well as offer a truly meaningful point of connection with Fresno State students. And I began to dream of offering a study hall twice a year as students prepared for finals at the end of the semester. I saw the fellowship hall full of students all day long. I saw Willow Avenue people in the kitchen making coffee and providing snacks and lunch. I saw the sanctuary being open and a few of us being on hand just in case somebody needed to talk. We started looking into dates on the calendar and wondering, how would we get the word out to students? And then the pandemic hit, and this dream was put to the side. Recently, however, the program director from an initiative called The Vinery contacted me. This is an initiative funded by the Lilly Endowment. And everyone who has any inclination of the Lilly Endowment, I hope your spidey senses just tingled a little. This initiative is funded by the Lilly Endowment to connect churches with colleges and universities that are within 2 miles of each other. This isn't just about connecting with students either. It's also for connecting with staff and faculty of these institutions. When we first started talking about the study hall idea, we wondered how we would connect with students in a way that just didn't feel icky. This 2-year cohort-style program could very well help us learn how to do this. It's something that we would have to apply for and have a group committed to lead us in the process. Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord. In this case, they invited us because they were specifically looking for a Mennonite church to participate. And nobody else in this program has had the idea of hosting a study hall. So let me know if this piques your interest. At about the same time, I had another dream. This one emerged directly from this same reading from Isaiah 3 years ago. Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord. I wondered what it could really mean for this congregation to walk in the light, to extend the invitation to our neighborhood, to come, let us walk in the light of the Lord. And then I thought literally about light and how we could offer a gift to the neighborhood in the form of light. I called it Willow Avenue Winter Wonderland. I could imagine our winter wonderland being configured in any number of ways, but all involve decking out the courtyard in lights. One version could be having the lights on every evening during Advent, with signs that invite our neighbors to walk through with their families at any time. In this version, we would have live music on Friday nights with cookies and hot cocoa. A different version could be having the lights on for just a week before Christmas, with a big kickoff connected to our story and song Christmas program on the 18th. This is the new program that has reimagined the children's Christmas program and invited others in our community to share a reading or song. It was really great fun this last year. And for the traditionalists among us, self included, we still gave out Mennonite tote bags filled with nuts, candies, and oranges. Now, I've been talking about this vision for a Willow Avenue Winter Wonderland for the past several years. But visions can be hard to put into words. So I decided to make our Winter Wonderland to show you what I see and to see if something isn't also sparked in your imagination. So last year, we made a little bit of an attempt with some lights on the fence and an archway. It was a start. But there's more that we could do. What if we put a whole nativity scene right here? But I'm not down with having the wise men at the manger, so we would need to move them on the other side because they are still on their way. And we would, of course, give them a star to follow because otherwise, how would they know where to go? This area just screams for something festive. I think something like some giant candy canes could do the trick. Maybe have a big old Christmas tree right here. Here is a great big area. Lots of things are possible here. I mean, we could do something like a sleigh with Santa and Rudolph and really put some decorations in the trees here. But if you're thinking to yourself, Santa, come on, at church? Okay, I feel you. What if we just had one of our own people dressed up, handing out lifesavers or some other kind of treat? That would be fine. Here, I think we could have another tree and some other decorations, and it would be just perfect for our cookies and cocoa spot. And then finally, we would absolutely have to have some live music and finish decking out the courtyard with some lights because it's festive, right? Lots of possibilities here. So instead of sermon talk today, we're going to hear from the Outreach Commission during the second hour. The work of the commission has changed substantially in the last several years, and so we invite you to come and hear about that and dream together about the ways that hope can offer real transformation, that we all might become more Christ-like this Advent. This year, may we prepare to celebrate the birth of Jesus within us, that we might become the light of the Lord for our neighborhood and world. Amen.